Hello everybody, welcome to the 3-year world tour. By the time this comes out, it should be exactly 3 years to the day since I started this world. Where we are at right now is roughly where I spawned in when I first started this world, however I think there was a tree here before. This is the spawn area. This has changed a lot over time. It's had many different designs, but I think I'm pretty happy with what the design currently is. I think it will stay as it is. This world is single player for the most part. I do occasionally have the odd friend come and join, which when you spawn in, you'll spawn somewhere around about here. This is the inn, as you can see by the sign there. This is where you can go if you're a new player, and you can get some basic bits, and just kind of wait for me to come and fill you in of, things you can do and whatnot in the world. So people get a room, some basic supplies. There's also some food and stuff in the kitchen as well. This originally was not in. This used to be a farming area, however a lot of that has since been concealed away. You can actually still access the farming area through some of the back bits in the base here. That just leads to a melon and pumpkin farm and then a bunch of water pathways that link everything up, which I'll show later on. If we come down here, basically back through spawn again, this is my house. This has gone through a load of different variations, same as the rest of this area has. If we come inside quickly, we can see it's a pretty simple build. It's nothing too complicated. I don't really tend to use this all that much. It's just kind of here. There's not much in the attic, but it's just made to look a bit sort of left and abandoned, as everyone's attic kind of is. If we come through here, through the kitchen, this takes you a little walkway over the pathway that leads down towards a flower field that way. Got a little bit of a sort of just kind of book room, an enchanting area, as well as a potion studio up here. You can make some potions, which I also never do in here. This is pretty much purely aesthetic, this kind of tower. Go right down this way, and I'll show off another room. This room is also, well, was purely aesthetic at one point, however I've since changed this as it was causing a lot of lag. This used to be an armory room where I had all of the armor trims put onto netherite armor, however having this many armor stands this close to all my farms started to cause quite a huge amount of lag, but I do still have all of the armors put in here. I think there's a couple sets I'm now missing from an update, where I think it was the last update with the trial chambers where they added a couple more trims. If we continue around these sort of spawn pathways, there's quite a few different ways you can go, but they'll pretty much lead to the same place. This is the sort of main path that I usually take. This goes into my storage room, as well as my nether portal, and pretty much everything else that I access from the base area. This is the main storage room. I do have one in the nether as well, to try and kind of reduce some lag, as this area can be pretty laggy, and I am on a pretty decent PC as well, but it still can be a bit painful sometimes. It's also why everything's in barrels and not chests. Down here is the wood storage room. It's not auto-sorted, it's all done manually, and you just grab what you want when you need it. Then further down here, this is my smelter room. I used to have a much bigger auto smelter, however I got a little bit annoyed with doing coal or kelp as the fuel source, so I switched to lava, and this is pretty much what I use now. I can just grab and do whatever I need to in here. So that's where I do all my smelting, is in there. You've got these two little doorways breaking off either side. Both of these have a little extra sort of storage room compartment, and it's just generally kind of overflow storage. If we head on back through into here, now the farms in this kind of section are sort of semi-pointless. They're mainly just done for the looks, as I had a lot of space left, as this area was originally just a big hole that I dug out. Got a little flower farm up here, which you can bone meal and get a bunch of the different flowers really quickly. If we come up through here, this is where I have my bee farm, where I get the honey bottles as well as the honeycomb. A lot of this kind of farms in this section are all quite manual. Obviously everything's not finished yet, I still have a bunch of projects that I am currently working on. Small little cocoa bean farm that you can just pop off like that, and it's really easy then to just replant as so. Down here is just a little bit of berry bush farm. Don't really use this all that often. I don't find much use of berry bushes. We've got a sugarcane farm here, also not used anymore either. Small bit of a vine farm as well, and this also has a few little mushroom farms, which apparently seem to have broken. The way this used to work, I actually hadn't noticed this was broken, is the mushroom would spread onto that mycelium block there. I can probably show better with this one, as it's got a mushroom on it. And then the observer would pull back a piston that would then drop that into the water stream that's there, and pop it into this. So I suppose I'm going to have to come up with a new design for that now. This is just where I harvest some mushrooms, as well as, I can't remember what these are called, chorus fruit. So you'll break down this and then stand on the thing, and it will shoot bone meal into a mushroom, and then you can just keep harvesting over and over. Which in this world is really useful, as I use a lot of mushroom blocks. As you can see out here, a lot of the pathways are made from mushroom blocks. If we continue around this way, this will take us down below to sort of another sort of hub of the base. This has got a few sheep. There are other sheep located elsewhere. And this is all hooked up to the storage system, which is down in here, where all of the farms are connected to in this area. So then I can have a limited wall. This is my brewing room, which I do actually use. You can also see the little sniffer farm in there as well. This is pretty basic. There's no real automation in this. As you can see, it's just regular brewing stuff. I do have an add-on. It's called Bedrock Tweaks, and that's what allows me to see all the recipes for the potions and things here. For people who might join the world that don't have that, there is also a book here about how to make every single potion. If we continue down from here, this will take us into the main automatic storage room for the base. This has got all the farms linked up to here, whatever it may be. It kind of says a little bit of a sneak preview about what's coming up. Melon and Pumpkin farm, which I think I briefly touched on earlier, is behind the inn. There's also a sugarcane farm, bamboo farm, paper farm, stick farm, and then the seeds from the sniffers. Some seeds as well from moss farm. We've got the bee farm here. Also got all of the wall types linked up to here, as well as the rest of the things you get from a moss farm. Cactus, the rest of the walls, and then also a sort of general mob farm, as well as a bone meal farm. And also a bit of a gold farm as well, but it doesn't work all that great. That does not need to be on. This is the overflow storage, so anything extra comes in here and I can choose what I want to happen to it there. I'm going to show a little bit of the kind of behind the scenes of the redstone area. I've tried to keep this as sort of clear as I can because it does break every now and again, and sometimes I'm really not sure why. Hasn't done it in a while, so I think I might have fixed the issues. But it's just a lot of water streams leading to all the different farms, and then everything comes passing along and goes over the hoppers. You'll probably see that bottle get picked up in a sec. Yep. And everything just keeps going around the system until it eventually gets collected. Going through the door. Same as this just leads up to the other side of it as it goes all the way around. If we go further down, we're now onto the second floor. Not much of a useful floor, really. This is just kind of where I get my snow. It's also where I store my Christmas decorations. Because I don't really ever remember how to rebuild them, so I'll build this, sort of take a picture of it and build it, wherever I have it. And I tend to replace the rugs upstairs, which I'll show later. This is my banner room. It's a pretty pointless room. I don't actually remember which book has it, but there's a book in here that I've written a bunch of instructions in as to how to make all the banners and things that I have throughout the world. Like, this is the banner to kind of represent my base. And then through here is the library and the main enchanting room. When I heard that the chisel bookshelves were getting added to the game, I figured I gotta make a library. I hadn't made one before in this world, so I figured this was a good place to do it. Each section is completely organised as what's in it. So this section is for combat, so you've got to do swords and kind of tridents. So the first section's tridents, and then swords in the second. This also then goes on for each thing going down each section. Whether it's armors or, you know, even the cursed books as well. This side is pretty pointless, it's mainly here just for just sort of decorational, and then the enchantment tables here. If we continue on further around, this is my sort of greenery room. It's mainly just used just to kind of house this sort of automatic wheat, potato and carrot farm, beetroot. So you just stand here with the crop and that'll bone meal. Okay, there isn't any bone meal on it, but that'll bone meal that and it will keep breaking. You can get as much of that as you want. Use that a lot for making packed mud and other things. As you can see, since it's turned nighttime, the lights along here have turned on. It's just kind of useful if you're down here quite a lot and you don't know whether you need to sleep because of phantoms or whatnot. If we come down again, this is once again a sort of semi-pointless kind of floor. A lot of these I just kind of had as I wanted a nice bit of decoration around the base. This is the most functional room. This is the moss farm. It's a design made by Silent Whisperer and a kelp farm. I can't remember who it's made by, but it also doubles as a bone meal farm as well, which is also linked up to the top up there. If we go into the next room, this is where I age my copper. I know it's not the most effective method to do so. There are plenty better. The spacing's not right in here, but I tend to get about a stack of copper out of here when I do it. Although it's not really used as much since the trial chambers got added. This room, more of a kind of decoration room. It's where I just kind of come down, do all my kind of weapons and gear and take everything into netherite. Pretty happy with the way this room turned out. I used to have a couple sets of armor on here, however it started to get laggy, so I had to remove those as well. Kind of the story of this world is removing things because of lag. This is an archery range, so obviously you can't grab these bows off the walls, but you come here with a bow, maybe like a stack of arrows. So I'm going to deliberately miss, so you can see that if you only just hit it, it'll only light that up, but if you get a bullseye, it will stay on the target, and you can know which ones you've hit for sure. The quickest I've done this, I think, is like 50 seconds for all of them. It can be pretty challenging, because there are quite a few sort of hidden about. And if we go further down, this is probably the biggest hole I've ever dug. And this was where I had a tree farm. However, I've since moved that tree farm. And that was the whole reason I built this. But it had way too many pistons, and it just caused an insane amount of lag. So this is now just sort of a general kind of farming area. Over here is the gold farm, also designed by Silent Whisperer. And then I added this bit of an item filter to kind of sort out the swords and other things I don't really want to keep. This is all manually activated, so I can just flick it on for when I want things to be sorted, and then it will also go up to my auto sorter up there. So you can stand here, get the XP, turn the portals on, and yeah, get loads of gold that way. This here is also a slime farm. It's really efficient. It gives me more slime balls than I've ever needed. The proper AFK platform for it is just here. This is the best spot to stand for all of the slimes to spawn in. Occasionally I do get the odd slime elsewhere, just because this area is so flat. I have tried to mitigate that with slabs, but it still happens every now and again, but it doesn't make too much of a difference. Down here is a semi-automatic carrot, pumpkin and wheat farm. You can just flick the levers and the crops will go into the water, and then they can be sorted off elsewhere. Manual spruce tree farm and a manual dark oak farm over there. There used to be an iron farm just here, however I moved it because for some reason when I was upstairs, it would just lose connection to itself, and that was kind of it. And then it just stopped working, and I got sick of trying to fix the farm constantly. This is a general mob farm. Works pretty well if I stand on that glass platform there. You just come up here, flick that, and it's not for XP. That's why there's Skulk here, is because there's a Skulk Catalyst there, which picks up the XP so it doesn't lag. All the items get sorted, or funneled out if I have that switched on, and then all the waste things that I don't want sorted, like gunpowder and all that, go down, and yeah, you get the idea. This is where I get the bulk of my sugarcane, as well as my bamboo as well. This does also craft it into paper as well as sticks, as I also have another little manual bamboo and sugarcane farm upstairs, and an automatic one as well. But it's a lot smaller, and I don't tend to use either of the sort of raw materials as much. I think it's this button to send it. Yep. So the slime machine just kind of goes along, breaks it all, and then it'll send itself back. And then if I press this one, it will send a minecart out, and it will just pick up all the stuff. And then it will drop it all off. I'll show you back here. It's not the tidiest redstone, but it'll drop it all off back here, and then it'll craft it all up into paper and sticks, and send it off to the auto sorter upstairs, where it will then all be stored away. As you can see, this is coming back now. I'm just going to wait a second for it to come back, because I don't want to unload it, so that's not fun to deal with. Just here, there is a bit of a weird zombie. It's not an aggressive zombie, and I've never understood why. And all he does is jump. So this is jump. Yeah. Have thought about moving him, but I'm scared that he'll then suddenly start attacking. So he just kind of lives down here. Just gonna run back here and make sure that finishes in the right spot. But yeah, you can see the stuff all getting crafted, and it gets sent straight through these sort of waterways and goes straight upstairs. That's why I've just got so many materials and everything going up. That's also why it's quite laggy, is because of all these water streams. Because pretty much everything is loaded at all times. So it does cause the odd issue every now and again, especially if I've got like the moss farm and everything running at the same time. This is a flower farm, and also one for the nether saplings and like the mushrooms and that kind of stuff. So the way this works is you just kind of flick that. There's no bone meal in it at the minute, but bone meal will come up there, and this would break, and you just get a bunch of it, and you could collect it all up with the water there. This is the tree farm for all of the nether trees. You place the sapling here, it will get bone mealed, and then the wall will push it out until it hits these cobblestone walls, where it will then send a signal here, which will turn off the farm, so then you don't break it from the pistons trying to push too much. That pretty much covers it for this sort of downstairs area. There's not a huge amount down here. Down here is just some beacons and the start of what will be a bit of a mining hub, although I haven't done that yet. I mainly just use it for wither fights at the minute, because I get all my beacon effects down here. There is also a little skeleton farm. If I just come off it. Oh, and this as well. This is my amethyst farm. Got the pickaxe here for as well. It's a stone pickaxe, because then it doesn't break things too quickly, that I don't break the clusters, not the clusters, the blocks. And they all drop in down there, and there's a hopper into a chest, so that's where I get all of those from. Down here is the little skeleton farm I was on about. It's very basic design. They just spawn in, and then it's a regular trident killer here. The stuff gets auto-sorted into these chests. And that's just kind of that. Very simple design. I'm now going to head back upstairs and show the rest of the upstairs area. Although not everything is completely finished, sort of around the base, I'm still kind of working on that. But that kind of completes all the sort of downstairs area. So we're just above the storage room now, where we just were when we started. And there's a lot of different ways you can come in and out of this building. Mainly because I tend to fly in a lot from different places. This is sort of the main area outside of the spawn bit on the other side. This is the market area. I would like to have some more villagers here, but once again, the lag's not great when you have too many villagers. But I've got a couple here. I haven't finished this area completely yet. I still want to add a couple of things, and also some houses need interiors. For example, this one does. Not quite sure what this building's going to be yet. I think I was thinking of some kind of town hall. Some houses are also not even a house. Like this one's got fake windows. No real entrance. This is the sweet shop. There's not a lot you can do on Bedrock Edition for decoration, not like you can on Java, where you can have invisible item frames and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a sweet shop. This is supposed to be one of those sort of like giant lollipops, but yeah, not a whole lot in here. And take this up here. There's not a lot going on up here either. I haven't finished the interior for up here. If we come back outside, this kind of leads you to what is sort of the main entrance to this place if you come in from this way. But we'll head that way in a minute. There's another couple of houses that are still sort of waiting interiors as we go up here. Another one without an interior. Most of them don't have interiors yet. I prefer to do more of the exterior building than I do the interior buildings. Up here is a church. This is not my design. I don't take credit for this church. This was built by Mythical Sausage. He did a tutorial on it ages ago. I couldn't figure out a nice church that would fit in this sort of spot. I did a few different designs myself, built them up, tore them down. But yeah, no, I really love this church. It's a really nice building. I love the sort of arches in the roofs here. Then up there we've got the castle, which also isn't finished, and also a couple of houses here, which are also not finished. The exterior isn't actually done on these either. I only just built these probably a few days ago now. It's going to be a bar and an inn. The downstairs is finished. Pretty happy with the way this came out. This is supposed to be a little bit of the kitchen. Might have a bigger kitchen upstairs on the other side. Not quite sure on that yet. As you can see up here, it's all waiting to be finished. Same in that. And same for that building. This building here has a couple of different farms in it. It has the cactus farm that links up to the storage room that I showed earlier. It also has my netherwort and glowberry farm. It's all manual in here. I can't think of a way to automate netherwort, because obviously you can't have villagers regrow it. So I suppose the best you can do is semi-automatic, but this is where I get my netherwort from. And then in here is where I get my glowberries. And you can see the cactus farm is really close, it's just under there. Now I'm going to head back up here. Here is the rest of the sheep. There's actually some behind this bit as well, as you can see. It's just sort of done to look more like a house rather than a sheep farm, as I kind of wanted to keep everything sort of more like the middle of a city kind of looking, at least in this bit anyway. Up here, where this is all fenced off, this is where my original iron farm was. I decided to keep the sort of exterior of the building I had around it and just kind of turn it into a bit of a ruin of what might have been like a fort or, you know, something else, because it's a nice spot up here and it fits in quite nicely having a bit of a ruined fort and then the castle up on the hill. I'll make my way up to the castle now. There's a few custom trees sort of going along. The castle isn't finished yet, but it does have a couple of interiors. It looks pretty cool from the outside. It's pretty big as well. It took a lot of time to build it. It's also got a nice working front door. I was not sure that still worked. And then if you come into one of the towers back here, as I said, it's not all finished yet. This leads to a trial chamber. There's one just beneath here. If you're wondering how I got this so close to my base, there's a website called Chunkbase, which you can use to find obviously where things are in your world. I also reset the chunks here before I built the castle, so then I could have a trial chamber close to home. I'll just drop down and show you. It's quite the drop. It's also on top of the deep dark as well. I don't want to be fighting that. So yeah, there's a trial chamber down there. This is where I tend to keep my trial chamber loot. It's up here, so that everything's all kind of sorted, and I know where it all is, and I can just drop it all off in one go. If we come upstairs, this is the armory room. This is where I've got every single armor with every single trim. This took absolutely ages. I believe it's also one of the achievements, is to get all this. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It takes a really long time, but it is it's fun to have once you've got them all. This was the first set of armor that I had in this world. There's a little bit of background on it. It was worn for 20 back-to-back battles of the Ender Dragon to get all of the end gateways. It was also done to fight 10 withers, and it's pretty much almost broken. It does have mending on it, but I thought it was rather fitting to just kind of have it there. If we come upstairs, this is my map room. I do have another map room, but this also does showcase sort of the main bulk of the world. Down here is the spawn, where we started the video, and then you can kind of see the rest of the city, which we walked about here, and the castle up here. So, I'm going to head down towards the sort of farming bit here, and then head round here, and kind of go from there. You can get a pretty good view from up here of kind of everything that's going on. There's a few sort of heads on the hill. I just thought it'd be quite cool to have. I remember it from a lot of the old Minecraft tutorials back in the day. This is a farming area which isn't finished yet. I still need to finish building it. This is sort of the outside of the kind of city walls. This is where they get all their food and everything from. You can see I've got some bees going over the crops. Because as shown in the trailer for the Buzzy Bees update, makes the crops grow quicker. This is just a pretty simple farmhouse. There's another one very similar to this, just over that way. Nothing that amazing. There is a windmill just over here. This does have an interior. It's not the biggest interior or the most mind-blowing. It's just pretty simple. Just a bunch of hay bales, and then a little bit of a living quarters in here. And then there's nothing any further up. So I'm going to hop out the window here and back onto the bridge. So you can get a pretty nice view of the city as you sort of walk the path around. You also get a nice look at all the crops that are just outside, and this is the kind of main entrance if you come from either that way or anywhere else in this direction. That pathway goes off to a villager trading hall over there. That's also not finished, as you can tell by the kind of look of things. Just going to head in here quickly and find a bed. This is a horse testing area, so you come down here with the horse. You then get on the horse. Okay, that shouldn't be there. Then you can run down here with your horse. If you stay in the middle, and it will tell you how many blocks per second you're running at. And obviously this is the horse stable and donkeys and whatnot here. If we head back over this little bridge going past the market in the centre, then we can come back up here and go to sleep, and I'll show you just over the bridge. Okay, it's not going to let me sleep, is it? Come on. I can also show you this bit whilst we're on the way out. This actually leads to the back of the little sheep bits that I said earlier. This is where I can just come and restock the shears of the sheep there in this section. If I come out here, we can head down to the dock, and this links to the sheep's here. The dockyard isn't finished just yet. And there's still a few things I want to add, maybe another couple boats as well. Can't remember where the tutorial for this boat was, but if I can find it, I'll link it in the description. This links back through to the library, as you can see in here. Just want to have as many sort of entrances and exits as possible to the main base. There's a little boat here. Doesn't have a lot going on for it in comparison to the other ones. But now we're going to go and head off to the bridge. There's also this lighthouse here, but you've got to be close to that for it to render in, which is kind of a shame. It's a pretty big bridge. This took a bit too much stone, but I think I built this just after I'd dug that big hole just under the base for the main farming area. And then this area will eventually be a sort of seaside town. As you can see, I've not made much progress on that yet. I'm still clearing that away. But at the minute, it's just kind of got this sort of... It's supposed to be made, sort of like a big shipping yard, sort of like organising things to be exported. There's also another boat coming in here from the ocean. As that links around the corner, you can see a zombie there. Yeah, so I'll head in here and I'll show you the trading hall. Also not finished, the outside. The inside is all zombie proof and safe. It's got basically every sort of kind of enchantment that I'd need. Unfortunately the prices aren't the best, but I haven't really bothered with getting those prices down. It's got a bit of everything. A bit of the Fletchers, the stonemasons. You can get all diamond armor and everything for like really cheap, as well as the tools, which is how I've got so much armor that I've then turned to netherite. I also did a lot of my netherite stuff before the template thing was about. Up here, this will eventually be a sorter for basically just a bunch of things I can trade with the villagers down below. However, this section isn't finished yet. At the moment, it's just some melons and pumpkins. Just gonna come outside and then we'll head on to the next little space. As you can see, that's where the melon pumpkin farm is with the water systems, but there's a couple other things I want to put in there before that's done. If I come over to here, pretty much back to where we started, and walk around and show this bit off. So, back to the main section of the world here. This is sort of, kind of a bit of a weird space. I was never really too sure what to do with this kind of area, as I had sort of the plan to just kind of build this way, but it felt a bit awkward not having anything sort of this side. So there's a couple of houses just sort of leading around with a little bit of farms. This is also a little mine shaft that goes underground. You can see the rail here that goes underground into a mine. If we come back up here, this is a blacksmith. Just sort of in a cave. I thought it was, I don't know, it felt pretty fitting place to have it. Then if we continue walking around here, you get kind of a nice view of the sort of bridge and the farm kind of over there. And then just down here, there's a nice little bridge going over this little river that leads out of that cave, comes down here, and goes and connects up with the lake. I'm fairly certain this house is furnished. Yep, it is. Not everything is furnished as good as I'd like. I'm fairly happy with the interior of this house. It's not a particularly big one. It's also quite an awkward shape. But yeah, you can come out here to the little farm that's down here as well. Or, you know, obviously you could leave through the front door and then come back on this path. And if you come around here, this will take you up to the farming area. There's a little bit of a rabbit farm here. Got a couple extra rabbits in there. This isn't the biggest farm, it just looks quite nice, which is mainly the reason I built this. Was this space was pretty empty. There's a few pigs in there. As I said, this is very similar to the farmhouse that's over on the other side by where the windmill is. If we continue on down here, you can see there's a lot of flowers and a lot of different crops and things all the way around here. There's a cow farm up there. Down here leads to a zoo. Not too sure if I like this part of the world. Probably going to change it at some point. It was just kind of done as an area for me to have access to all of the animals that there are. This is kind of like your more general animals here and sort of the barn bit. You've got a bunch of the different fish in here. Got the mushroom island cows, some polar bears, some snow rabbits. Also got some turtles down there. And then if we come further around, there's some camels up in there. There's also some axolotls in here. I tried to tailor everything to be a little bit like sort of where they came from. So obviously the axolotls have got a bit of a cave. There's also the nether dome here, which has got Bob. Couldn't think of a name, so what do you choose? You choose Bob. A little bit of a nether fortress and the walled forests and whatnot in here. Can also get a nice view of the lighthouse from here. There's no interior to this yet. I haven't quite decided on what I want to do for it. I also don't know what the interior of a lighthouse kind of is like. You can get another view of the boat down here. This is a graveyard where the skeleton horses are kept. I've got a few more obviously over there at the docks. You do get a really nice view of the main area from over here. There's a little frog statue here with a little bit of water that just kind of flows out. There's also some foxes here. This is the little fox enclosure, kind of a bit like a spruce forest. There's also the mangrove swamp with some frogs in here as well. And then also a jungle with some pandas. Up here there's a nice sort of viewing platform. Really nice for sunsets and sort of screenshots and things. But other than that, that kind of does this sort of section of the map. There's not a whole lot going on. This is the nice sort of sunset place. As you can see, the sun's there, and it sets quite nicely over the ocean. You can actually climb to the roof of this and get an even nicer view kind of everything else that there is in this sort of area. If I sort of float down here, this takes you to the last thing in this area before we head back over there. This is a museum. It's not done yet. I'm still not 100% sure if I like the design. But that's why I've also got the doors blocked up, as things like to come in here. As you can see, there's a few sort of wooden dinosaurs. There's a guy on YouTube that does tutorials for these. I wanted a few dinosaurs and I couldn't think of a way to make them out of bone, so this was kind of the next best thing. And this is a zombie with a bow. I don't know, I just thought it was cool, so I've kept him here in the museum. Because you don't see it every day. Oh, I can't leave that door. Is it going to rain or is it snowing? Okay, it's raining. Okay, well, that's not the best weather. Just going to fly over to the other side. You can see I have quite a lot of cows by the sort of sudden lag spike. This is a watermill house. The watermill was a bit of a pain to build. This area isn't finished, as you can see by the kind of stone that here. You do get a really nice view of the sort of farm bit as you kind of come around here. Interior, not super done. I actually thought I'd done this. I suppose it's on me. If we continue up here, you can see another windmill. It's a very similar design to the one I showed earlier. This is sort of a kind of village outside the castle that's over there. This is also not done yet. I'm hoping to get this finished in the next sort of couple of months. Yeah, it's nothing too big yet. Houses need interiors, and there's also a little bit of a market area around here, also not finished, and some farms. I also regret this, making a wall out of berry bushes. There's going to be a little bit of a sort of wandering trader outpost here. I want to get some villagers sort of around here and sort of decorate this area up a little bit. If we come over here into the sort of castle area, there's a few things going on here. I don't really tend to use this area as much as I used to. There's some cannons here. Those people who have played the Tile Update like 13 or 14 tutorial world will recognise the design. I kind of took this sort of segment from that. I didn't realise, but is that the Swedish flag? I think that's the Swedish flag. That's not intentional. This place I do want to revamp at some point. This I did probably in the first sort of couple 100 days of the world. It's not the best builds. This is a very old church. It's probably a couple of years old. It was one of the first bigger builds I did. We'll head into here actually first, which is the barracks. There's not a lot going on in here, as you can tell. We'll just skip the night and skip the rain away. We come back out here. This is eventually going to be sort of an archery courtyard. There's going to be a bunch of targets and that sort of lined up along the wall there. Down here there's a bit of a market. A few of these villages do actually have some decent trades, but I've got the trading hall, so. Down here is the farms that supply the castle. You've got a big potato field, big carrot field and wheat field. I've also got a golem stack and a fence. I just don't think you're supposed to be in there, mate. Gotta be honest. You've also got a manual sugarcane farm in here. It's actually way darker than I thought. There's also an automatic melon and pumpkin farm over here as well. Because originally I was going to have all of the farms and everything be over here. I then decided to move everything to be nearer the base. This is a little mining area. Going down there, you can see one of the villages is down there. Then obviously there's a few sort of ores and things that have been extracted up here. This ladder will take you up into the castle wall and also to the gold farm, which is within this ghast. You can see the couple of portals there, and then they get dropped down into there, and then you can turn the trident killer on, and it will get sent into a little storage room under that loot pile. Gonna head back up to the church, show this, and then we'll move on to the castle. I'm pretty happy with the interior of this, considering it was probably the first church I think I've ever actually built, which is quite surprising considering I've been playing Minecraft for about nearly 14 years. So yeah, there's not a lot going on up there. I'll just give you a quick peek. It's pretty bare up here. Head back outside, take us up to the castle. When I first built this, I was really happy with this castle, but as time's kind of gone on, I kind of want to come back and redo a lot of the bits in this. For example, like a lot of the detailing, there's just none of. This building I'm still pretty happy with, even though it's a very sort of bland kind of colour palette. But yeah, if we come inside, this is not also entirely finished. We've got a kind of like a copy of the armour that I've got over in the armour hall. I did used to have the armour over here until I moved it. This is also the throne room and a very outdated map. Because as you can see, if you come up here, there's buildings on here that, well, aren't there. Like, that isn't there anymore. So yeah, this bit's eventually going to be a kitchen. Also not done. There's also a little upstairs to this main room here. Quite like this little room. It just has sort of a few kind of antiques, like some of the riches and rare things that I got over time. It's also got my first set of wooden tools, the bow, and then a couple other random things that I got early on. Through here, there's a little bit of storage that's not been taken out. There's a little bit of a nice sort of decorated garden here, just kind of at the back of the house. It's a bit of an awkward spot. I wasn't too sure with what to put here. I was going to have a water fountain or something, but that just felt a bit odd, as it's not a very big space. Up there's a bedroom. There's nothing in there besides the bed, so I won't bother showing that off. Now we're going to head back over to the main area, go to the nether. This is the sort of main nether hub room. It's where you can kind of pick whatever direction you want to go in. With kind of signs going everywhere. These are all in order of what comes up first. So you've got ink farm, skeleton farm, Then you got the castle, which we were just at. Ocean monument, snow biome, the end, ancient city, desert biome, coral reef, and the mesa. Then a few other things. So this is like your froglet farm. And then you can kind of see what these other ones are. Going down that way. This is the overflow storage for the sort of main storage room that I have. Kind of keep the extra things in here. So this is a bunch of the stone that I got from digging out that underground section. There's quite a lot. Automatic farms, this is all the extra stuff that I don't bother keeping in there. And then just a bunch of extra wool. Over here is all sort of unsorted stuff usually. Just kind of extra bits that aren't in shulkers. So that's all in here. I'm going to go and show the froglet farm. This leads to the trial chamber that I said about earlier that was just under the castle. I'm not going to bother showing that. Everyone knows what a trial chamber looks like. Down here is the froglet farm. So it's pretty simple design. I think it's also by Silent Whisperer. You just got the spawner and there. Come in here, the iron golem. They spawn in, they'll see the iron golem, they'll jump towards him, fall in the powdered snow. They'll then get into the smaller magma cubes, where they can then be eaten by the frogs. And then they go in the chest. Come back out here. Down here is a skeleton farm and an ink farm. I've also got the soul sound and the soul speed enchantment, so I run a bit faster on here. There's also a normal section here as well. The ink farm is a very simple design. It's I don't think there's many designs you can actually do on Bedrock Edition, but this works perfectly well for getting all the stuff that I need. You can tell I've been here recently because there's no ink in it. So you just come up here, you stand in the center of this platform, and then you just go AFK. Then the squids will spawn in, they'll be pushed up by the water, and then put into the magma blocks just there. The skeleton farm I won't bother showing, it's just pretty much similar to the one I had below the main base area. So there's no real point showcasing that. Down this way is my automatic tree farm, and also a mob farm and a melon and pumpkin farm. I know it's a bit of a weird combination of things, but it works pretty well. So this is pretty much the same design as what I have over at my base. Over here is the tree farm. It's a design by Silent Whisperer. It's absolutely amazing. You can do pretty much every tree type with this thing, and it's fully automatic. You just stand there and place the saplings, and it all gets pushed out into its own sort of sections. So yeah, you can see all the different kind of trees it can do and all the different settings and things. It's definitely a complicated build. Wouldn't recommend it for anyone sort of new to redstone. It also takes a lot of materials. I think it took me a few real life days to gather them. I'm just going to head on back over to the portal, and then we'll head on over to the next location. So this is my end portal room. It's got sort of a nice purple kind of floor. Kind of like a bit of a voidy effect. I didn't want to break the spawner, so now I do kind of have to live with the silverfish here, but they're not usually too bothered. So then you can walk up these steps and head into the end portal quickly, which I will do. And then this is the end, which obviously most people know what it looks like. You can see I've beat all of the 20 Ender Dragon, as I mentioned briefly earlier. This is the Enema Farm. It's a pretty simple design. I don't think it's anything too special. There's a lot of people who have done this kind of design. I won't bother showing it off. I do also have a shulker box farm as well, just over here, which I will show because this was a pain to do. Alright, where is it? It should be this way. Yep, it's that. Because you have to move some shulkers over to like sort of this area and have them not be killed, or teleport around or go anywhere they shouldn't. There should be another snow golem there, but I don't know what's happened there. I'll have to get another one there. Yeah, the shulkers sort of get killed and they duplicate themselves when they hit each other. So yeah, that's how that kind of works. There's plenty of videos explaining it far better than I could. I understand it, but I don't know how I'd explain it. Okay, so now we're kind of done with the end. I'm gonna go and head back. This is also where the desert and the coral reef and the mesa is. Mesa is just there for where I go for mining. Okay, it's night time. I need to find a bed. Villager, don't go outside. Okay, go outside then. So yeah, you can see the coral reef biomes kind of all around us. This is the desert. There's a little bit of mining that I've done over here. When I mine desert, like the sand in the desert, I tend to not just kind of make big holes. There is a bit of a hole here, but that's where I got a bunch of sandstone. I'll probably need to grab some more at some point as well. I tend to sort of just kind of layer it off and still leave it looking fairly natural, because I don't like to destroy the look of things too much. I mean, this is the closest desert to me, and it's absolutely miles away. This is the mesa. You can see I've kind of taken a chunk out of this mountain here. This is where I got the terracotta that I need. Yeah, go and head back home now. Let's go ahead to the jungle. Not the jungle, the witch farm. It's so good now since they buffed the redstone drop on it, because that's the main reason I use it. There's also no cactuses, I'm going to break the boat myself. Since they buffed it, you used to get about 1 to 2 pieces of redstone per sort of witch, whereas now you get like 5 to 8, I believe, with looting. So it's very simple design. This is just kind of the main sort of storage bit. Everything kind of goes down. So it's pretty full up. You flick this on, and then the witches will spawn. Can I get up here? Yeah, so the witches will spawn on that block there, where the scaffolding is. The trident gets pushed back and forth, which kills the witches. AFK platform just up here. And then all the loot goes into that, and it gets all sorted. Anything that's extra gets put into here and then just burnt. So now I'm going to head off to... what's next? Yeah, I think it's the jungle next. I'm going to say, I think this is one of like the biggest benefits of having a long-term world is the faster travel. Because in like a regular world, you know, you don't tend to play too much or keep the world for very long. You end up having a lot of issues with travel, and it takes everyone. It kind of burns you out on the world itself, just because it takes so long to get everywhere. Down there's the ocean monument. We'll head there in a second. It's also the Guardian farm. Here there's a little village that I'm eventually going to be working on. You can see I've started to prep things here. There's also a lot of frogs here as well. This is a really nice jungle island that's just sort of kind of encased by the mangrove. It's quite nice and also quite odd because of the sort of darkness of the mangrove. It contrasts quite nicely. There is actually this, which I can show off. This is the correct way to get to the village that's in the mountains. Okay, boats are not the best to steer. So you can see it's kind of lit by the torches and the fence posts. It's not too far, it's literally just under here. Because I want to have a little bit of a city just behind me. And then there's also this little place, which is kind of a city sort of encased in the mountain. So this is sort of be like a kind of underground entrance to the whole thing. You can see where I've kind of planned where I'm going to put a wall. Just here where I want the height of things to be and whatnot. So if I come up here, you can see I started to build some of the houses. I think I might actually change the house design. I don't like them too much anymore. I used to like them a lot more. But there'll just be a few houses kind of wrapping around this whole area. I probably live mainly off fish, so I don't think I'll have many crops or anything here. Might have a few crop things either side. But you can see where I've got a few things sort of laid out, like this little waterfall and whatnot. So we're going to head back this way now. So we can take the ball back and show off the ocean monument. I got a few of the brown coloured cows, which you get those by having lightning strike one of those red cows, and then you can get a suspicious stew from those ones. This is the ocean monument. This farm design is by Silent Whisperer. There is also a nether mode for it and an overworld mode. As you can see here, I've not finished the nether one. I mainly just use the overworld mode. It's so effective on its own. But yeah, you can see the Guardian spawn, and I'm not in the best AFK spot. You stand here, and you get all of them, and you can see the amount of XP that just sort of pours in. This is how I've got the few hundred levels of XP. And then it all comes up here and gets sorted there. I do have a bit of an issue with it kind of overflowing at the minute, which is why this is here. I can't find a better system. Also the XP is a bit broken. This is why I say it's a bit of a work in progress. The design that Silent had for this sorting system wasn't like an auto sorter, which is what I want, because I'd like to be able to just grab the specific thing out and then just kind of craft whatever I need with the prismarine. I'm just going to wait here because otherwise this is going to lag. That should all be good. I think that's everything. So yeah, there's a little bit down here, it's just some storage. It goes all the way down here. So I probably lost a lot of items from not having this properly sorted. But you can see I've got plenty of fish, prismarine and everything else. The monument itself is pretty much untouched. You can see all these pillars here, they represent the sort of spawn points for the Guardians. So you just got to have those filled in. This is the design I'm not happy with. It's just the sort of wall kind of going around the monument. I'll probably change it at some point. I'd probably like to do a circle, or something, you know, make it a bit different. Just then I can also see more of the monument kind of around it. But it's all drained out, which took absolutely ages. And now I think we've pretty much come towards the end of the tour. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the 3-year world tour. I just want to say this WOD is all made without cheats or anything like that. I can actually show that if I come in here, there's no achievements disabled. Like if I come in here, I can still earn achievements because I haven't cheated before. So it's all a fully legit world. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.